Hey, Josh Sparrow here, and today I'm with AJ.
Hi, I'm a vision engineer here in Minnesota, and today we're going to be tying in a SICK inspector camera into an Allen Bradley CompactLogix PLC.
All right, we are now connected to the SICK inspector camera. You can see that we are just in a Google Chrome web browser, and we pull up the IP address for our programming interface here. We're going to start from an empty job to show the whole steps here. So we're going to just create this job. You can see our image is pretty washed out. We've got the lighting kind of set up here. So just quickly, I'm going to turn off the integrated lighting in the camera and run through the auto setup. Now we know this will get close, might not get perfect for what we're doing on our application. So I'm going to come in, and I know we're pretty good about this 6,000 for what we're going to do. What we're going to do here is just locate these screws here on this hard drive. That way we can pass some information over to the PLC and really show what we can do there. So I'm going to come in and just locate all of these screws quick. We'll just grab these guys here, and then our AI will be able to detect those. And then over on our bottom right hand side here, we can see all the information that we can pass through to the PLC. So now that we've got our job kind of done here, we're going to go over into our system and click on this Fieldbus tab here. Now this Fieldbus tab, we've already got set up here. You can see that our IP address is actually different than our programming interface. This allows us to really be able to connect up to a PLC and program the camera at the same time. There are two different ports on the camera in order to get this all set up. So once we're done with that, we'll come back into here and go to our communication and set up our Ethernet IP output string here. So you can see we're connected, enabled. Our control bits right now are 0, but we can get all of this set up through here. So if we wanted to do, that global AI detection or be able to kind of change anything, we would do that right here. Now, once we get this set up, we can download the UDT for the Rockwell. So let's come in here and grab this, and we can do maybe objects detected for that coming back to the PLC. So now you can see we would detect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 objects. That's when it's going to come back to the PLC over here when we take our image. That is basically what you need to do in the camera side to get this all set up. We will now pass this over to our programming PLC so that we can show in the actual Rockwell software.
Hello, this is AJ. I'm going to be showing you how to connect your SICK camera up to your Rockwell PLC. So where Josh left off is that we have our Ethernet IP result mapping. We have our job ID and number of objects detected. So now we're going to want to download the UDT for Rockwell PLCs. Keep that guy. And then go to our inspector camera, and we need to download an EDS file for the camera. You can download the EDS for the Inspector 85, the camera that we're using, at sick.com along that. And then it's just right at the bottom here. If you're using an older generation camera, you need to go to support.sick.com and download it in the release notes firmware releases. So now I'm going to be going to the device description install tool and installing that EDS file. So let's add the selected device, browse. We can see it comes up here under .eds. And then that was just in my downloads folder. So we'll install that. There we go, successfully installed. So now let's go into Studio 5000 and actually create a project. So we want to select our CompactLogix controller. I'm going to name this Demo. And then we can just finish that. All right, so now we are in our Logix Designer. So currently we have our setup at Ethernet 2. So A2 is our port that we're going to be using on our PLC module. So then we're going to want to add a new module to that Ethernet port. Search for our inspector camera. We can see it shows up here. And then create. And then I'm just going to name this inspector camera module. And then our IP address, we want to make sure to use the IP address that we set up in our Fieldbus system, Ethernet IP. We are using an IP address of 0.5, 192.168.0.5. Accept that. So now we have our new module set up under our Ethernet port. We're also going to want to set up the user-defined data type, the UDT that we downloaded from our communication here. And then this is automatically going to set up the data type for us. So let's go back here, import data type, and then we can see job 1 results was the UDT I downloaded a minute ago. We have that. So now we can just take the inspector job results and just leave the name as is, and that's going to import it. So now that we have that set up, if we go into controller tags, we see that it's not there yet. We can create a new tag, name this job 1 results, and then select the data type that we just imported. In this case, it is Nova Inspector job 1 results. Create that. So now if we go into here, we can see that the data type is already set up, job ID and number of detections, just like we have here. Next, we're going to actually link the output. So we want to go to our main program, toolbox, and then we want to copy the data coming in. The data coming in is under inspector camera module I for input. And then we want to go to the data tab, and then we want to select the bracket 2 bracket. The first two, 0 and 1, are just information. Since we don't actually want those. So now we're going to select that. So it starts at that point. And then the destination, we want to put that to job 1 results. The length, we can set that as 1. So now everything here is set up on the program side. We'll save that. And now we should connect to our PLC. There we go. We can see it under Ethernet right there. So now I'm going to download our program onto the PLC. All right, so now we change it back to remote run. So now if we go into our controller tags, we can see that our job ID is 1 and our number of detections is 5. Going back to our SICK camera, we can see that we have 5 screws detected and our outputs are 1 and 5. So now if I, for example, hold my finger over one of these screws, we first set it to run, hold my finger over the screws, you can see output is now 1 and 4. And if we go into our Logix Designer, we can see that our output is 4 number of detections. If I take my finger off, it goes back to 5. All right, thank you for listening. That was a short demonstration of how to connect your SICK camera to your Allen Bradley Rockwell PLC. Thank you.